What it do, Ram Squad Show? It's your boy Brock, and that game was a prime example of BTA.
Oh, I'm Gavin Carlson, and that was also the definition of a perfect performance.
Oh, did he mute?
And my name is Doug McKain. If last week you thought the Rams got exposed, the only thing that was exposed was your ball knowledge. That's coming up.
Whose house? Rams house. It's the Rams Squad. Everything Los Angeles Rams every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Here comes the Rampede. The Rams Squad Show starts now.
Yes, it does. The Rams Squad Show is back. And, man, between the belt and the technical difficulties, again, I'm weak. But above all else, we're laughing at the Cardinals here as we're right here live directly after the game as the Rams absolutely manhandle the Cardinals en route to one of the biggest wins of the season. On today's show, we got plenty to talk about. We're going to talk about just a complete performance for our Rams, the response after last week's loss. And, of course, we'll look forward and see, are the Rams right back to being the favorite to win the NFC West, to win the NFC, to win the freaking Super Bowl? But before we do all that, shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It is Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Big Brock, you brought out the belt. Give me your just initial reaction to watching the Rams absolutely handle Arizona. You called this from start to finish.
Yep.
Just absolutely destroyed them. What were your thoughts?
As I was watching it, I was like, first of all, when Arizona scored first, I was like, uh-oh, I'm going to have to back up all those words I said. Yeah. So I was so happy I seen them start routing them, especially when the Rams got the ball. I seen the running game performing just like it was last week with, getting 9 yards, at the beginning of the game. So for me, if the running game's hitting, obviously that's going to help the passing game. And they went on to just dominating the Cardinals, as, we usually do, But after you come off a loss like that to the Panthers, you kind of wonder, is your team locked in? But as I stated last week on the preview show, when you lose like that, your pitch is hot, so you ready to go next Sunday, ready to just get over that last loss and just like utterly dominate the opponent in front of you. So I'm glad that the Rams did what I know they should have always done, was just BTA, man. BTA all day. I got the belt around my neck today as a souvenir.
I love it. Big Broncos with the run game. D-Mac, same for you, or what was the biggest takeaway? It feels like they did everything right, but if you could only pick one thing from that win, what would it be?
It was the first time since 2001 that the Rams had 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns. So it was complete synergy. The run game was unstoppable. The offense was unstoppable with Puka Nacua and Matthew Stafford, Colby Parkinson. Basically, they got whatever they wanted, and it looked easy. And this is the first time I can think of in a while where you had the backups, two series in the fourth quarter, seeing those backups in. I mean, this didn't even feel like a competitive NFL game. And I think that, yes, the Cardinals are a bad team, but like we talked about in the midweek show, this was a team that can muddy up a game, keep things close, lose in the fourth quarter. And I listened to what Brock said in the midweek show about this one being a blowout, kind of feeling bad for the Cardinals, and Kobe Turner saying, I feel bad for the next team we're going to play, and he was not lying. Both you guys were not lying because they had an angry win today, and they were focused, and they're locked back in. Also, one thing I want to say, too, is that Caleb Williams doesn't play for USC anymore, but he's still helping Los Angeles football teams because he throws that interception late, lets the Packers win that game, and now the Rams back to having the top seed in the NFC. So all is right in Rams land right again.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have gone any better. It also felt like, how we talked about during the London game, how nice it was that the Rams had another edition of BTA, handled business, and then you just get to sit back and watch the rest of the games on Sunday knowing your team won, right? That's kind of how it felt, except we played at 125, and yet by around 2:30 p.m., you're sitting there like, I don't even need to watch this game. We are chilling. Let's go look around the rest of the league. Let's see, like D-Mac says, what the Bears do against the Packers. We'll see what happens tonight and tomorrow night. But it was about as comfortable of a 1:30, 125 kickoff as you could have. Obviously, it would have been nice if Seattle lost earlier in the morning, but we weren't expecting that. We will get into the state of the NFC standings and all of that looking forward. But for me, biggest takeaway of this game, without a doubt, is the offensive line. And it's really hard to talk about the offensive line when you have Puka Nacua, not one, not two, not three, like 5 ridiculous catches, right? When Blake Corum has 2 or 3 unbelievable runs. Kyren Williams, extremely efficient. Matthew Stafford, basically perfect. But let's give the offensive line some shine, because I don't know what it ends up being at the end of the game, but with about halfway through the fourth quarter, the Rams had well over 200 yards rushing without a sack, right? They do actually finish the game without a sack, 249 yards on the ground. And the biggest thing for me is this Rams team is so talented. It's got such a great offensive mind in Sean McVay. It feels like the only thing that can stop the Rams, at least offensively, is negative plays. And when you don't have penalties, when there's no sacks, and when every run is at least getting you 4 to 5 yards a carry, how in the world are you supposed to stop this team? Are we going to run for 6 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards a carry against every team? No. But can we run for 4 yards a carry and not have negative plays on sacks, on holdings, on false starts? If you limit all of that, how in the heck are you going to stop the Rams? And today was a perfect example. I mean, we had I think it was the second touchdown when Kyren scored it, and you got different O-linemen spiking the ball after every touchdown. It was just like a party. Everything felt great. The defense gets in on the fun. I mean, just absolutely disgusting. And oh, by the way, D-Mac, who the heck is Cooper Kupp? Because this wide receiver duo is unbelievable.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, what Puka catch was the best today?
Man, I like the second touchdown. I mean, the big and physical, looked like it was a kind of a 50-50 ball. And you look at his routes. I mean, the first one too, it's not like he's doing a ton. Like you look at Devontae Adams' routes. He gives you the and all getting in and out of the breaks. Puka's just using that size, and he knows how to use leverage. And when the ball is in the air, he just has that knack for using his body to close off the ball in the defender. It almost like it's like a basketball player getting a rebound or something like that, just the physicality. And the hands are really good too. We're not talking about Puka Nacua dropping the football this year. That's something that you only talk about when it happens, but you don't say, oh, he made a catch, because that's what all pro NFL receivers are supposed to do. So, yeah, he was feeling it for sure. I think that both of them were fantastic in their own way, but I do like the fact that you mentioned that offensive line, because if you're going to give the game ball away, you could throw it to Puka. You could throw it to Matthew Stafford. I think give it to the offensive line as a group, because the lanes they're opening up, the big physical approach they had today, and then that's the rest. If you're going to give Matthew Stafford time to throw, and he was sacked 0 times, he was hit just twice. He gets time to throw, and you're big and physical, and Blake Corum is give me that stock up emoji, right? Going up.
Come on,
right?
Come
Going
on.
up, right? And Kyren Williams is doing Kyren things, and it looks like these guys are not competing for, who's trying to impress the coaches. It's like, no, we're kind of one unit, a little yin-yang happening. So I love what I'm seeing. I was so thrilled to see this offense come out and do what they do. Is the renewed sense of focus for sure. But that's going to be the key to their success. You win in the trenches. And if the offensive line can perform like this against top 10 units in this league, then we're talking Super Bowl. We're not just saying it because we're Rams fans, former Rams players, hosting a Rams podcast. We're saying that because that's just the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to ask, Brock, how demoralizing does it have to be for a D-line to just get absolutely run over, pushed and shoved for 4 quarters? Because obviously you expect to beat the Cardinals, and we all predicted a big win. We got the big win coming off a loss. But when I watched this game, I'm thinking first round in the playoffs if we're playing, or even second round of the playoffs if we get a bye against a team who's going to be great, but maybe not the best. Maybe we're not playing the Eagles or playing the Seahawks or something yet. If you can control the line of scrimmage and make a playoff game as stressless as a game like this, man, that's going to be huge. How demoralizing is it for a D-line to just get absolutely run through for 4 quarters like the Cardinals did today?
I think the biggest thing is, for our team, especially when around the league, you look at our team, you think our team is just like a finesse team. We like to get the ball out to our playmakers, and we're really not physical. We try to out scheme you. When we come out and just utterly just run the ball down your throat and just, we run powers, we run duos, which is just really downhill dive, with the running back, and we get 6 or 7 yards and you can't do anything about it. Then we go up top with a play action and throw it for 30 yards to Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams. It's almost like you said, it's just a demoralizing feeling when it's like there's nothing we can do. Like if we stop the run, they're gonna throw it. If we lock up on the outside, they're gonna run the ball. Like there's nothing we can do. It's a terrible feeling, when the coach is just in your defensive coordinator's mind. He knows what you're gonna run, and he's running the opposite of what you think you're preparing for. So for me, man, I love the fact that we did this. Obviously, I know this organization, this staff. We play these guys in a couple more weeks, so we definitely have to switch the game plan up a little bit, tweak it. But, ultimately, if we're the most physical team come Sunday, you can look for us to dominate that game, especially when it comes to the trenches, stopping the run and, moving guys on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and how perfect is this game, too? Because we're coming off a game against the Panthers. Obviously, the loss is frustrating enough, but the most frustrating thing was that's a game we could have won, even if you take the turnovers out of it. Just people clamoring, Sean McVay, run the ball more, run the ball more. If we ran the ball more, we would have won this game. Today, I was laughing. That first drive, you have 5 great runs in a row, and then you go incomplete to end the drive. And I'm sitting there. I know you're both sitting there. I know half of the Ramley is sitting there going, what in the world are we doing? We're running the ball down their throats, and we end the drive on 3 incomplete passes. Well, guess what? McVay responds to that drive, and he responds to last week, just absolutely running the ball the rest of the game. So it was perfect. It felt like it needed, we needed this a little bit. I don't want to say we needed the loss last week, but it took the loss. It took that first drive for McVay to say, look, we're not messing around. We're running the ball down their throats. Oh, by the way, we're still going to throw 3 touchdowns and have 2 of the best receivers in the league. But I mean, at what point did this game feel over to you, D-Mac? Was it after that second touchdown? Was it, I don't know. At what point did you feel like, okay, the Rams are going to win this one? They're running the ball down their throats.
I think you got a real sense early on when they started to really have that balanced attack. But I really think that over, like it's a wrap. Like we can count this as a win. I got to say when they go 30 up 31-10 after the Colby Parkinson touchdown pass in the third quarter, because look at me, you go 31-10, 25 minutes left in that game. You feel like it's over. In the NFL, you can, if you have enough time and things go terribly, maybe a team can make a run and things can get interesting. But after that, that this was a wrap and that these guys are going home with a victory. But, I mean, you had a really good sense early on, too. I mean, it was a strong start for Arizona. We all knew that they were going to come out and give the Rams their best punch. But give the Rams credit. They did not give them any hope. And I think that was the difference in this one is they weren't playing with their food. They weren't playing down to their competition. They didn't make any silly mistakes. I mean, we can talk a little bit about maybe Akella Witherspoon and him kind of working his way back and that kind of stuff. Terrence Ferguson not getting a lot of action there in this one. But for the most part, it's tough to find one thing to complain about. I mean, I think the number one thing for me was, if Matthew Stafford had 2 bad games in a row against subpar opponents, then I'd be worried. Is the MVP slipping? Will the number 1 seed start slipping? He looked great. Completed 71% of his passes, 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, I think that if you had any doubts about where this team was last week, I think what this team is ready for is another big opponent, though. Like I'm ready to play the Seahawks again. I'm ready for another big challenge again, getting through a stretch where, look, yes, we're in the fall, yes, we're in the winter, but these are almost kind of like the dog days of summer for a really, really good NFL team that's had a lot of success this year. 2 opponents where, they're NFL games against NFL teams, NFL players, but I think this team is ready to get up for a big game again and be tested for against a big team like the Seahawks.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just think about the embarrassment of riches. Like, we're 15 minutes in the show, and we've barely even talked about how well Matthew Stafford played. Like, we didn't even say the name Devontae Adams yet. Like, Blake Corum is barely being mentioned despite 2 like, And we have not even said the word defense yet. This team gave up like 10 actual points in this game until garbage time. So, yeah, you can't be feeling any better going into 2 massive games back-to-back against Detroit and Seattle. We'll get to those games a little bit later, but we got to talk about this defense too. Our boy Nate Landman with one of the best picks we've seen all year. Kobe Turner plays one of his best games of the season and more. So we'll get to all of that and more when we come back from a victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We'll be right back. Now, you hear me talk about it. You know, D-Mac laughs at it sometimes. You know, I'm a youngin'. I like to say words like aura, you know. Well, how about the sponsor of today's show, Aura Frames? Now, I had never heard of them. I'll be honest. After this, I'm a huge fan, and it's not just the name, because look, the holidays are officially here. We know that. It means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap. It's a way to share memories, because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it. So when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. I mean, just imagine, right? You head over to your grandma's house, you know, your mom, your dad, something like that. Maybe they're not even that great at technology, and you just hand them a picture frame that already has all of their favorite moments on photos, constantly cycling through. It's amazing. Endless uploads of pictures and 30-second videos. You do it all through the Aura app. Packaging comes gift ready, no price tag, no wrapping needed. It's a huge win. You just buy it, you get it to the person you need, and it's all handled. It's a holiday gift that actually gets used, not forgotten in a drawer. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver mat frames, named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. That's AURA frames.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Back here live with the Mob Squad, the Rams Squad Show, breaking down absolute BTA. You saw Brock during the intro. Rams 45, Cardinals 17. How about this for a start to a game for your offense? Field goal on the opening drive. Okay, yeah, we were a little bit frustrated. But then how about touchdown, 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 touchdown? I mean, just like perfect from there on. You have a couple punts, but even then, it felt like the game was already over. Like D-Mac said, you go up 31-10. The Cardinals can't do anything offensively, held scoreless in the third quarter, held to just 3 points in the second quarter after that opening drive touchdown, and the Rams march on to a 45-10 lead, ultimately finishing with the 45-17 victory. We talked about the offensive line, phenomenal performance. If you forgot sort of the total stats for this one, the Rams run 36 times for 249 yards and 3 touchdowns. This isn't the Panthers last week running for 160 on like 45 carries. This is 36 carries for 249 yards. Oh, by the way, you still throw for 281, 3 touchdowns, just 9 incompletions for Matthew Stafford. Puka Nacua, I did not know this. First 2-touchdown game in his career. 7 catches, 167 yards, and 2 scores. Colby Parkinson had one. Just a great game all the way around, and we didn't even get to the defense. That's where we go to a defensive Rams legend himself, Big Brock. Thoughts on the defense today, holding a Cardinals offense that has quietly been kind of decent, especially through the air, to just 10 points until the garbage time touchdown at the end.
Yeah, I hate how we say, oh, they've been doing pretty good, and we use stats like, oh, they've been doing pretty good based on PFF after week 3 with 10 seconds. Yeah, like, yeah, forget all that. Let's be real. They've been getting their ass whooped. I mean, they've been getting beat. Let's say that. All right. But I love the fact that we went out there and made them one-dimensional. I talk about it every week. You know, when you're a defense and you can make a one-team one-dimensional as far as they can't run the ball, you make them have to throw the ball. You're also on offense scoring points, so the team has to feel like, oh, we have to throw to get ourselves back in this game. We cannot run the ball out because that's going to shorten the game. So when you get a team one-dimensional, all they're doing is throwing the ball. then you can just pin your ears back and go get the quarterback. Obviously, you do what you have to do up front as far as earn the right to rush the passer. We talk about that as defensive line. Earning the right is playing run first and second down, getting them in long third and down situations, play good third down ball, and get off the field. If we're doing that, we're dominating defensively. So, you Landman gets a turnover, we get sacks, everybody's having a great day. But like I said in the preview show, this is what we do to the Cardinals. It's nothing new to me. It's literally what we do, what we're supposed to do. If we did anything other than what we did today, I'll be questioning, are we a real team? I'm gonna be honest with you. But the fact that we did, put some BTA on the Cardinals after a hard loss last week, it's right up our alley. We're ready to, like Doug said, play one of these bigger teams in the league to see where we really are.
Yeah, D-Mac, curious your thoughts on go ahead, the secondary. Just seeing Ahkello Witherspoon out there getting more snaps and everything. Obviously, we missed him for a couple weeks. Manuel Forbes obviously had the highlight or had the spotlight on him after last week's game. What'd you think of the secondary and just the defense as a whole?
Yeah, I think Ahkello's going to take some time to get that fluidity back in his game, right? He looked a little stiff at times, getting his legs back. I mean, look, he missed a good amount of time. He missed a chunk of this season. To expect him to just slot right in and be the guy that he was, he's always been a player that has some high highs and then he can have some low lows. So I think for him, it's about the body and the mind kind of meeting in the middle and just kind of getting back to where he was. I have a lot of confidence in him as a player in that Chris Sheila is going to put him in a good spot. So it's a process with him. I wasn't expecting him to look like pre-injury Ahkello right off the bat. So I think just getting his feet wet in a game where it wasn't against one of these elite teams with everything on the line, there's still enough time left in this season for him to catch a rhythm and be a part of this team. Because I think that even with the strides that Emmanuel Forbes has made this season, you're going to need Ahkello Witherspoon against bigger and physical receivers. So I'm willing to live through some of those pains, those bumps in the road as he gets back to where he needs to be. But I think the big difference today was the pressure. I mean, they're at a 42.5% pressure rate. When they're causing pressure on the quarterback, it makes life easier on the secondary. But I'm going to say something crazy, and you guys can tell me what you think about this. I think Poona Ford is the second most important player on the Rams defense. I know that sounds insane. When you rewatch this game, there was a screen pass in the first quarter. He's literally pushing the center, the guard. He's pushing them back to the point where it interfered with that screen. He blew up the screen. Like, the dude is an absolute problem that completely neutralizes the run game. It does not get shown up in box scores and stat sheets and a lot of PFF stuff like you've been talking about. But Poona Ford is the glue to this Rams defense. Nate Landman makes a big play, gets the big interception. We saw Byron Young, Kobe Turner, a lot of flash plays. But, man, Poona Ford is out there bringing his lunch pail, doing the dirty work, just a blue-collar guy. And he's been – I know that we've got some Landman lovers, and I love Landman too, but he is my favorite addition to watch him go out there and grind. When he's not even at 100% yet. That's clear to me too. And I think when he does and he gets 100%, it's going to be a big reason why I expect a deep run for the Rams, because I just feel so much more confident about them stopping the run with my big boy Poona Ford down there doing work.
Yeah, I love it. And it just reminds us again and again of the embarrassment of riches. Like, later in the show, we'll talk about this kind of Kyren Corum debate. Obviously, we are thrilled with the receiver core that we have, that duo. But the fact that you can make that argument, and it's a legitimate argument because of how much improved the run game is, how important Ford is. But, oh, by the way, there's Kobe Turner, like, basically playing the same position as him, and he's unbelievable. Had an unbelievable game today, right? We praise Jared Verse, and then you forget about Byron Young and how great he is. Like, the front seven is disgusting. Jacoby Brissett, the amount of times that you feared for his health back there today. He's getting stepped on. He's getting hit low. He's getting hit high. He's throwing picks, and it looks like he wants to lose his mind. Like, this front seven, it just makes it so complicated on opposing quarterbacks.
Yeah, what was over that play with Kobe Turner where he's looking for the ball? You see that? And,
that was great.
Brock, this is a good question this is a good, like, ask Brock moment. Like, that's got to feel terrible when you see the opposing team out there having that much fun. Like, and they're just literally messing around because they're on top. Kobe Turner was just kind of acting a fool a little bit, and I loved it. He's like, "Where's the ball? Where's the ball?" It had me dying, man.
Yeah. 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 When you feeling yourself and because our defensive coach used to always tell us, like, celebrate in their backfield. When you make a play, you get a sack, you get a tackle for loss or whatever, you guys celebrate right where you tackle the guy. You know what I mean? So it on film, when it looks, you have the opposing defensive line in your backfield celebrating, high-fiving, doing all this stuff, and it's just tearing your defense up, and you can't do anything about it. It's like you said, it's demoralizing, man. You can't do anything about, what a team is doing. They're scoring when they want to. They're stopping you when they want to. It's like, why did I even show up today if this team was going to be, why did I show up to work today if they knew everything I was going to do? So, no, today was a great day for to be a Rams fan, and just to see the team that we know, that's supposed to be on that field. We understand what happened last week. This is the team that's supposed to be on the field.
Yeah, and talk about the embarrassment of riches today. An embarrassment of riches in terms of celebrations. We had Blake Corum doing whatever the heck that was, rolling on the ground. You got the announcers joking that the Rams are rolling and Blake Corum is rolling. Like, it was just a perfect day. It really was. Every single thing. Like, I'm struggling to find like one thing you can really criticize the Rams for today. And I don't want to get too high. I want to be level and make sure we're okay going to these big games. But like outside of the opening drive for the Cardinals, which, that happens, right? You're on the road against an NFL team that, has NFL level players. Like, they're going to score every once in a while. Maybe they scripted a good, opening drive and were able to, it wasn't like it was a long, methodical 10-play drive, 5 plays, 67 yards, right? There's a 27-yard pass backed up by an 18-yard pass. You stuff them on the run and then a 19-yard pass. Like, it was 3 plays really in that drive. Outside of that, is there a single thing, D-Mac, you can think of that the Rams didn't do like literally perfectly today?
I would say the offense was next to perfect, like you pointed out. I would say that if you had to kind of spot the pimple on the model, you got to look at that coverage early on the game against Wilson, against McBride. I think McBride had 45 yards on 2 catches there early on. So, yeah, the coverage – the coverage is going to be the big X factor down the stretch for me. I mean, I'm very confident with the front. I'm confident with the linebackers. I think again, Quentin Lake back at some point in the playoffs, seeing if Akella Witherspoon, like we talked about, can get back to where he was. But I think that's ultimately going to be the determining factor of whether or not this team is going to have the run they think they are. Because I think that that it's kind of the Rams versus the Rams on offense, right? Like, if they're calling the right plays, if Sean McVay is going with what works, if they're executing, it's the biggest cliche, but cliches are cliches because they usually apply to certain situations. And I think for the Rams, it's not like, oh, we need them to out execute a team to be big. No, they just need to execute to their stand and they'll be fine. But I look at the talent level. So I'm not worried about the talent level of the Rams receivers or their running backs or their offensive line, which we can talk about too. I would love to get into that a little bit. But it's the talent of the secondary that keeps me up at night, and whether or not you can feel confident, because it's about receivers making plays and quarterbacks making plays in the playoffs, and can you put them in spots where they can be optimized? That's ultimately what keeps me up at night. So I look at, if you're to answer the question, kind of long-winded, but I would say just kind of the coverage very early on. I was like, oh, we're not doing this, right? And then they started to really get it on and give credit to the offense too. I think the offense gave the defense credit, confidence today too, and allowed them to play free with how well they were playing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree. I think at the end of the day, like, I feel game script, I think, plays a little bit of a role in terms of how the secondary plays, like the way Chris Rouleau sets up the defense. Obviously, the goal is to set up your secondary as best as possible by getting them behind in the sticks and letting your pass rush do the work, right? But especially when you have a lead like this, 3-yard receptions don't do anything for the offense. They don't have the time to have these long, drawn-out plays to get someone down the field because the pass rush is going to get there. If you can have starts like this, obviously it adds so much confidence to what the secondary can do. But I agree. It does feel like we saw it in the game against Philly. That's still, talk about keeping up at night. The play that keeps me up at night is seeing A.J. Brown do what Puka did a couple times for the Cardinals today and just absolutely moss your secondary, right? Like, that always still exists when you play the Eagles or when you play some of these other teams with great receivers. But, man, we're picking here. What do you say? Spotting the pimples on a model? What was that?
You got a perfect 10 model. Sometimes you got a little pimple. I know that kids wear like little Band-Aids on pimples now, right? generation. We used to have to live with that. We used to have to roll up. Like, you guys put Band-Aids like you're Nelly, and it's, come on, man.
Don't put me in that generation. I'm not putting, I've never understood that. I'm not putting a bright pink star on my face. Like, I thought the point of a pimple is you don't want people to see it, right? But how about, you're basically putting an even larger pimple on your face by putting a pink star sticker. Like, what's going on?
It's like putting it. Oh, how about this? Shout out to the Falcons, too. Shout out to the Falcons for losing today, too. So that pick is going up and up and up and up.
That's true. Man. I guess that,
we winning on all levels now.
That's a good reminder, because I'm sitting there watching that game, praying that the Falcons can somehow beat the Seahawks. And then early on, that wasn't the case. But you're right. I don't know how I forgot. Even then, even when you lose, in terms of you would have liked the Seahawks to lose, you'd still win. Because, oh, by the way, you might pick Fernando Mendoza next year, or let him sit behind Matthew Stafford for a couple years. Like, oh my goodness.
Bro. No. That personality don't fit for LA, bro. Come on, I don't care. I'll put them that are. You can't be crying on and saying flipping.
yeah. That post game, it was pretty hilarious. But hey, man, it's a good day. It's a great day to be alive and be a Ram. Just like it's always a great day to be alive and be a.
You're probably like Vanderbilt's quarterback's mom, Gavin. I bet you that.
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about Pavia's mom, but I'm scared now. Can you tell me what you're referencing?
I don't know. Apparently, I don't know.
Oh no! He's
gonna go on a tangent.
I don't even know what he's referencing, and now I'm scared. Now, someone in the comment section, let me know where D-Mac could have been going with that, because now I'm scared. Maybe it's another one of D-Mac's like Angel Reese comments or something, but we'll leave it at that. We're gonna take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about. I want to talk about this Corum Kyren thing, because, I mean, in terms of trying to find anything negative, you're not going to find anything. But certainly there's a debate going on in terms of who's better, who's the bell cow, who should be getting more carries, Blake Corum or Kyren Williams. I have no idea what D-Mac and Brock think, so it'll be interesting to hear. We'll talk about that. We'll look forward to two massive games and where the Rams are going to finish in the NFC. We'll do that when we come back here on another victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show. We'll be right back. Today's show, once again, brought to you by Gametime. Look, you can see it behind me. I absolutely love soccer. I met the Brazilian national team at UCLA. Yeah, D-Mac at UCLA, baby. But as I know, and as a lot of you know, the World Cup, it's coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Gametime app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Gametime, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. The layout makes it so simple. You just pull up the app, scroll through the matchups, and you compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for fine print, and the prices include fees up front, which I love. No last-second surprises at checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets, every match, every concert, every event with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Back here live on the Ram Squad Show, the Mob Squad, Big Brock and D-Mac in the building. I'm curious, just because I just read it in the ad. I went and looked and saw, because I don't know how much you guys care about soccer, but I looked up because they had the World Cup draw. The first game of the World Cup will be the U.S. playing at SoFi on June 12th. Take one guess. I'm curious because I feel like you guys don't, maybe you might get it, you might not. What the get-in price is for that game when I opened up on Gametime.
Get-in price. Man, the way you sound, you make me seem like it's expensive, right?
I don't know. What do you think?
I'll say $548.
$548 get-in price. Big Rock, what say you?
Let's go $650.
$650. I'm going to pull it up right now just to give you the most accurate numbers, but let's just say the Cardinals had a better chance of winning this game than you guys did of getting this right, because I was seeing like get-in price. I'm talking like $3,000 to be in like the lower bowl Like just absolutely absurd stuff. The
Wow.
get-in price is not $3,000. I think the get-in price is going to be around like that 500, 600, 700. But that's like to basically be standing at the top of the like to get a real seat, like a real seat. I'm talking like $1,000, $2,000, just absolutely crazy for that opening game between the U.S. to open up the World Cup. Pretty insane. But I figured I'd get you guys on that one. Anyways, back to talking Rams football. Rams dominate the Cardinals here. Hopefully, we have expensive Rams tickets at that cruddy stadium, Levi Stadium, in February when the Rams are there. Interesting road ahead, these next two games that are certainly going to determine if the Rams are the number one seed, have the best shot at getting to that game. Early impressions. I mean, it's hard to not feel like the Rams are the best team in the NFL, favored in both of these games. Between the two, Lions, Seahawks, which game kind of makes you guys a little more nervous going into the rest of the season?
I say the Seahawks for sure, because I mean, if Darnold doesn't have all those turnovers, it's a much closer game. And I think that defensively, they're right up there. I'm not overly impressed with the Detroit Lions. I know they're going to play up, of course, with the Matthew Stafford, Campbell, everything related to Jared Goff is always going to be a storyline, but I truly think their window is kind of closed a little bit. I mean, I think they have a puncher's chance for sure. There's no doubt about it, but I think with the losses of Johnson and Glenn, they're not quite the same team. So I think the Seahawks for sure. I think both are tough plays to play, and they're both are big reasons why, of course, the Rams want to definitely stave off Seattle, because you don't want to go to Seattle in the playoffs. So I would definitely easily say Seattle, but the Lions are always a dangerous team, and I think their passing game, especially without Quentin Lake back, definitely gives me a concern. Like, I could definitely see them having the ability to score some points on the Rams for sure. But yeah, I really like the Rams offense versus the Lions defense for sure.
What about you, Bob?
I'm gonna say, obviously, I think the Seahawks is gonna be a tougher matchup because it's in your division. But I was in Detroit recently, and if the Detroit Lions are playing to the standards that they know how they should play, Amon-Ra getting the ball, they're spreading the ball, they're running the ball. Excuse me, they're running the ball really well. I can see Detroit being a dangerous, place to play in, a dangerous opponent to play, as far as, being late in the season. But I kind of like playing a team like that. Like, we just got finished playing Carolina and Arizona. Like, I feel with what you guys are saying, like, we need to play somebody towards the end of this year where we're testing our skills. We're challenging ourselves. So I feel like, looking at this moment, I mean, both teams, I feel like, can get in the playoffs and be a playoff type of team or type of game. But, I mean, if we're not hitting Jared Goff and we're allowing him to just, pick us apart, that it'll be a long day. Do I believe our front seven can get it done? Absolutely. But if we're not hitting Jared and you allow him just to dice you up, it's going to be a long day for any team. So I would say a little bit more danger probably playing the Lions, just because we already know what Seattle has to bring. We just got to play up to our standards. So a little bit of both. Doug says the Seahawks, I say the Lions. So
yeah, I mean,
that's the perfect way to describe the Lions as dangerous. I mean, that's that is what they are. And just look what they did to the Cowboys. I mean, if they're feeling it, I mean, and like you said, you're not getting pressure on Jared Goff and he has time to throw and find his guys, especially they're playing on a fast turf no matter what, whether it be SoFi, whether it be Ford Field, right? So, I mean, I think from a wins and loss standpoint, the Rams are good. We don't have to really worry too much about them necessarily, depending on kind of how things shake up. But yeah, I mean, I will say the Lions and the Rams, I would say for matchups in the NFL, it really does have about as much juice as any matchup in the NFL. Like there's like, it's not going to be this like rivalry forever type thing, but there's a lot of juice because of the coaches, the storylines, and just they've played the playoffs now. So, I mean, that always changes things too. And I think that it's something for Matthew Stafford. He wants to go out there and always perform well and show his old team what they're missing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Seattle's a more complete team. Like, I think this Lions defense, it was really hurt at the end of last year, and it looked awful. Yeah. It's been really injured really this entire season. Hutchinson comes back. He looks phenomenal. But I was so high on the Lions coming into the year. I thought people kind of overestimated, losing Ben Johnson. I'm like, this team is still phenomenal. I think we're at the point, though, where you can't keep saying, oh, they got to get a little more healthy. They got their defense just isn't good. Like, at this point, you just have to say their defense isn't good. Seattle's a more complete team, in my opinion, but I still think the peak of the Lions is higher because that offense can still be unstoppable. Like, JSN's amazing, but you can still contain the Seahawks. I don't think the run game is unstoppable. I don't think they have anyone else on their team other than JSN that's unstoppable. The Lions have, like, 2 game-breaking players in terms of speed, and Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams. And, oh, by the way, their best player might still be Amon-Ra, right? Like, so I think they're a little more scary, dangerous, like you said, D-Mac and Brock, the perfect word. Do have to say, though, Seahawks today, they did finally do something I've been waiting to see them do, and that's they used Rashid Shaheed. 5 catches, 67 yards for him. I think they're using him more and more. If he can be like a true number 2, 2.5. Also, D-Mac's boy Cooper Kupp did catch a touchdown today. So, if they have a trio that actually uses Shaheed, that Cooper Kupp isn't washed, and you have JSN, then they become just as dangerous as Detroit as well. I think all of us are still going to pick them to win both those games, let's be honest, but certainly it will get a little interesting. Also, I did have to stat check just because I'm nerding out. Get in price, $1,800. I was reading the wrong thing. So it is $1,800 getting price to SoFi Stadium for
Steal. Jeez.
Yeah. So I guess go watch the Rams in the Super Bowl and you'll probably pay less than that. That's insane. But got to feel good. We'll see. I want to real quick get into this Corum Kyren thing before we kind of give our maybe predictions the rest of the way. Where do you guys stand on this? Because I think earlier in the season, we saw Blake Corum have a couple explosive runs, and people were like, hey, like, Kyren looks a little bit slower than Blake. And then you see Kyren maybe fumble in that Niners game, and people get off the Kyren train. And then Kyren does what he always does, which is be consistent as could be, score a touchdown just about every game. But then Blake Corum does what he does and has a 40-plus yard touchdown today, coming off a great week last week. Kind of feels like there's more of an even split in carries. We'll start with Brock. Do you have a side of this Blake Corum, Kyren Williams debate, or what?
I really don't, to be honest with you. I like them both in the situation that they're in now. You let Kyren, wear the defense out a little bit. He's a bowling ball. He just hits the hole. He moves the piles, things of that nature. Then you bring Blake in. He's running the zone schemes, cutting back, finding that cutback lane, and finding the touchdown for 48 yards. So I love the mix up, the match, because they're the same stature, so you don't really notice who's in unless you know the names and things of that nature. But if you rip the nameplate off the back of their jersey, you wouldn't know who was in. So I love the fact that they're both the same size. They got pretty much the same running style. I just think Blake, he likes to bounce. He bounces off of tackles, that low center of gravity. He just keeps moving, running his feet and things of that nature. So I like the way they use them. I love having that mix and match. Now, obviously, it's not like you got, one guy's faster. I think they're the same player. I think they're the same type running back. I think they do things differently, but I think they're the same type of running back. Obviously, Kyren wants to go downhill, and Blake wants to cut it back and find those running lanes. So I like the way they're using them right now, to be honest with you. I like having two running back system anyway, just because it takes the wear and tear off of, your running back's legs when they're both getting reps. So I can't really pick a side. I think, we need both of them to be successful. If both of them are doing, both running backs are having, what are we looking at, 128 and 84, they're really good, efficient days at running the ball. I think we win every single day out the week. So I like both running backs in the way we use it now. So
yeah, I would say that Kyren's the starter. That's his title, but it is truly turning into a 1A minus situation where we'll see later in a game where it's pivotal, where it's tight. If Blake Corum is the hot hand, does he get more snaps down the stretch? Because I think that's kind of the difference between them in my eyes, is that Kyren's floor is higher, and Blake Corum is a guy, as you point out, one cut and go. He's going to be more of a home run threat and break a big one for you. And I think at this part of the season, Corum's the hotter back. He's just kind of caught a real hot rhythm right now. But I don't think it's kind of one of those things where they're competing. I really don't think it's that. I mean, you're always competing, obviously, but I don't think this is where, Blake Corum's performance is going to make Kyren Williams' snap count go down necessarily. I think that if everything works properly, Blake Corum gets that 48-yard run because Kyren did what he did when he was in the game in his role, right? So it allows them to have that burst and allows that offensive line to go out there and just road grade and run duo and get physical. So, I mean, I think that this isn't necessarily, I mean, who knows if it was or not? Like, I don't know if their original plan was to have this thunder and lightning or this two-headed monster type of approach. I firmly believe that the reason why they drafted Blake Corum a little higher than a lot of people expected, and they were surprised by it, was because they feared Kyren was dealing with some injuries. So they thought Corum could do some Kyren things. And then you went out there and you got Jarquez Hunter as a guy who could maybe have been a home run threat, and you mix up things. So I think this is almost a pleasant surprise for this Rams offense to see them perform the way they are. But if you watch him at Michigan, I mean, he is the bowling ball type, I mean, especially inside the red zone. So this is the best version of the Rams is a balanced attack. And the truth is, just Kyren, you're probably going to want a little more. And then just Blake Corum and just Kyren, you're going to want that versatility. That's kind of where the NFL is trending towards anyway, right? The days of it being boom, Marshall Faulk, Eric Dickerson, like those days are just kind of not what they are in the big 2025 in Q4, right? So I think that's where I'm at. By the way, you mentioned Rashid Shaheed, right?
Yeah.
What'd you say? How many receiving yards did he have today?
67.
Wait, so he had 6, 7, 6. I mean, I thought I heard. Call me crazy.
No, Doug, you're a kid. You're a kid at heart.
No, I taught my daughter how to do it, bro. And she's only like 2.5. So no,
oh my god.
Can you explain to me what the heck that means, honestly, bro? Like in one sentence.
God. I can't even. It's
I don't even want to try. I just think it's one of these trendy things.
It's over though, right?
I don't think it's over, bro. I think it should be. But I don't think it is. If you ever are at like a basketball game or something, and there's kids in the crowd, and one team gets to 62 points, like you just see like 1,000 kids ascend, and they all start standing up, and they're all looking at each other, waiting. Then it's 64, 65, and if there's someone at the free throw line with 66, like half of the stadium, there's murmurs, and if they hit it, like they lose. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But
it's so stupid. I kind of low key love it though. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Hey, I'm fighting the childish allegations because I just said 67 and didn't even notice it, and D-Mac noticed it. So remember that. But real quick on this Corum Kyren thing, it is interesting. 2 weeks ago, again, the Rams are having blowouts, so it's kind of hard to fully judge things. But in the blowout over the Bucs, Kyren 12 carries, 46 yards. Blake Corum 7 carries, 24 yards. Right, like. Neither were really that efficient, honestly. It didn't matter because the game was over. Then you go to last week, obviously a close game. Kyren 13 carries to Blake 7. So again, Kyren gets the lion's share. But Kyren 72 yards, Blake Corum 81 yards. He has a 35-yard run. They each have a touchdown. And then, of course, today, basically an even split, 12 and 13 each. Blake Corum, more effectiveness. The big run plays a role. I think the notable thing there is last couple of weeks, it's been Kyren getting twice as many carries. This is the first week where it's a true even split. And I prefer this to the Kyren having twice as many. I'm with you guys there in that they both provide different things, but I feels like you would be leaving some meat on the bone, leaving that like explosiveness on the bench if you had it at Kyren 15 carries to Blake 7 or 8.
Well, here's the thing too. I mean, with Kyren, like let's say, I mean, I don't want to knock on wood, right? I don't see Kyren Williams fumbling, right? I mean, there's all these little things where, hey, Kyren, they paid him. They expect him to be that guy that's going to start for them. But, hey, this stuff matters, right? And if there is a game where he coughs up the football, I'm sure they're going to be showing him on the sideline. He's not going to look happy. And in that game, you'll see a bigger snap count for Blake Corum. So, I mean, I think that this emergence of Blake Corum is bringing a great result from Kyren Williams as well, to where, hey, look, man, pressure and competition is only good, especially in all these different positions. I mean, another thing I want to kind of point out too, as long as we're on the topic, is, man, I don't want to see Warren McClendon out of the lineup. I mean, this hasn't been the year for Rob Havenstein with the injuries. This offensive line, they've really, I think, found that chemistry and that cohesion where you see it out there. And I think that you're talking about the run game and how much pride they have. And look, give McClendon a lot of credit coming out of Georgia, kind of the talent level that he had. And sometimes it takes longer for an offensive line to kind of a lineman like that to grow into a tackle spot role. So, I mean, I think you got to feel really, really good about where this group is. I mean, you traded for Dotson. Alaric Jackson was a UDFA that's emerged as more than a capable starting left tackle. He's at least top 15, right? So you got Shelton that's been good. Avila you took with your highest pick a couple years ago. So they've kind of slowly built this offensive line without going out there and paying massively. And when they did with Jonah Jackson, he didn't perform. They're like, all right, man, you're gone with Bo Limmer. So I think they've done a really nice job in developing along that offensive line. That's one of the big reasons why you're seeing Kyren and Blake Corum both have success. And K-Dot's probably my favorite player on the team, honestly. Like,
yeah, they've been phenomenal. Like this guy says here, bow to less need. We're talking Corum, Puka, Kyren, Byron Young, everybody, right? In the middle 8 rounds, like you're saying, there's UDFA guys coming in here. There's trades you thought that weren't a big deal, and they're all impacting it. So, yeah, I mean, you got an embarrassment of riches for a reason. We're in a great spot. We're going to take our last break. We come back. I want your early predictions for next week. And then I also want the one thing that each of you are looking at the most the rest of the season for the Rams. It might be the secondary. It might be the O-line, whatever. We'll ask you that question when we come back from our last break on another victory edition of the Locked On Rams Squad Show live right after the win. Now, finally, today's show brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is the best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Like for me, I had a little nice one of my own where Shedeur Sanders, I know he's polarizing. At one point in the game, he had around 220 passing yards. The live bet over was like 280 passing yards for the rest of the game. Went ahead, put something down on Shedeur to have over passing yards. He finished with like 315, 320. Why? The Browns were down in the game. You knew they were going to have to throw the ball, and you're able to see how the game is happening, predict those momentum shifts, those momentum swings before they happen, and Shedeur goes ahead and almost comes back and wins the game. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, making those live bets, making all those spread bets as well, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Ram Squad Show back with the Mob Squad. Do you guys catch that crazy end? There was a lot of crazy endings today. The Browns, I mean, obviously that game didn't mean much, but thought it was pretty entertaining to see Shedeur almost come back and win that game. The Bears-Packers ending was great, but our game, nice and easy, right? Nothing to worry about there. Joe Burrow absolutely collapsing at the end of that Bills game was unbelievable. I know that's D-Mac's choice as the next quarterback of the Rams, and hey, maybe they keep losing. Maybe that will happen. A lot of crazy games, but it's nice when your team isn't a part of that. Just a nice, easy BTA dub for the Rams on this Sunday. Real quick, want to hear from you guys. First and foremost, going into next week, we already talked about each of those two games, but we'll get into our official predictions in the midweek show. I know we went 3 for 3. We all predicted the BTA today, but do you got the Rams winning? I don't know what the line is yet, but what are your early predictions? We'll start with you, D-Mac. Do the Rams get it done? And if so, is it a close game? Is it a nervy game? Is it a game where they handle business?
I think right now, man, that offense is really, really humming for the Lions, coming off with a lot of momentum. So I would say, look, I got the Rams winning that one. I really feel good about their offense against their defense, and the way they played today wouldn't make me think any differently about it. I think it comes down to the fourth quarter. I think this could be a game of the year type of game at SoFi Stadium. I think the Rams win. Could it be by a field goal, Harrison Mevis, something like that? At least right now, that's how I feel. I just think that when the Lions and the Rams get together, it almost feels like a really big college football game, like Indiana, Ohio State last night or something like that, where there's so much on the line, so much pride on the line, so much to play for between these two teams that they just find a way to keep it close in this one. I think, too, it's the mistakes. I mean, Goff and Stafford, there's always that added, okay, playing against my old team and who's going to get the better of the other one. So, look, I think it's going to be a close game. There's no reason to pick against the Rams right now after this performance and the way they played all year. They've beat better. I think the Bucs game is kind of a good game to look at, to where, hey, like, we know the Lions are probably better than the Bucs right now, but look, the Rams can beat the better teams in the NFC, and I think that next week's going to be a good test, and I expect them to pass it.
What about you, Brock? I know you just said you were in Detroit. You got, you went on a little scouting mission for us on Thursday night. How you feeling?
Man, if we make them one-dimensional, I know I keep talking about that, but I feel like it just makes the game easier for our listeners that don't truly understand the game of football. Defensively, if we make them turn into a just throwing offense, obviously the Lions have a good running game, but if we put them in a situation where they can't use it, where we're up in the game, or we make them feel like they have to play catch up, and it's just mostly all throwing as far as offensively from the Lions, then I feel like we win that game. If we allow that offense to, play the way that they want to play, run the ball, obviously use play action, don't get any pressure on Jared Goff, it can be a questionable game, I'm going to be honest with you. So defensively, I feel like we got to come with it. If we come with it and our front seven just gets after Jared Goff, usually once he gets hit a couple of times early, he gets a little rattled. That's kind of his MO. It's been that way his whole career. If he gets hit a little bit, he gets a little rattled. It might be a long game for the Lions. But I think we need to focus defensively. Defense travels. Obviously, it's a home game for us. So we can bring our defense, make them one-dimensional. This is an easy game for the Rams. If not, then let's look out for a shootout, in this game.
Yeah.
Battle of cultures. I didn't want to. No. I feel like this is a battle of cultures. Obviously, Rams is more we, not me. Lions is more grit, teamwork. But I feel like both of these are two positive cultures in the league that people want to kind of build from. So that's kind of what you get when you got these two teams. All right, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. And a lot of people are going to want to see this game for sure. It's going to be an entertaining one. For me, I think it's playing defense against their defense. And what I mean by that is if you can get Aiden Hutchinson off his spot as much as possible, I really like the Rams. I just watching the game today, it was such a reminder of, again, like I said a million times, if there's not negative plays, nobody is stopping the Rams. If Aiden Hutchinson doesn't have a sack and a half, a TFL or two, the Rams are not, and the Rams don't hurt themselves, knock on wood, with false starts and holdings. Like, if they can play defense against Aiden Hutchinson offensively, no one's going to stop them. And worst case scenario, it is a shootout. It's a shootout that I still like the Rams to win because the Rams can score in more ways than the Lions can. So I'm with you. Obviously, we try to be the Keep It 100 podcast. But I think, again, like D-Mac said, it's really hard to justify picking against the Rams right now. They're the Super Bowl favorites, and they're going to be at home in a game that they're getting up for. Now,
and the thing too, like the Rams, it's such a pivotal game for them because if they want to win the division, I mean, they could lose and still get a wild card. But I think the big storyline is the Rams have won enough. Oh, our boy kind of blacked out here, but the Rams have won enough games this season and established themselves long enough to, I think, that the rest of the league respects and knows what the Rams are. The Lions, if they lose this game, it's like you're 8-6. You're looking up at the Bears and the Packers. I think for the Lions, it's kind of one of those things like, are the Lions still a thing, right? And if they lose this game, you're 8-6, and wild card maybe. If you win this game, it's like, oh, the Lions, they went to SoFi and beat the Rams. Like, they are still a thing. They're still, as Brock said, dangerous. So I think there's a lot. They have a lot to prove in this one and a lot to gain from this one. And we know what the Rams are going to do. It doesn't matter what they have to prove, what they have to gain. You mentioned culture. They're going to treat every game as a 1 week season anyway. So, all right, I want to get you guys' thoughts though, real quick though. Was Notre Dame hosed? I was gonna
ask you guys that. I was curious as well. Yes, they were.
How? Wait, how? Okay, so let me get this straight. Alabama beat Georgia, right? In their house, but they lost to Georgia again. Was Notre Dame going to beat Georgia yesterday? I mean, give me a break. Here's the thing. Look at that 4-game straight. Look at the thing. And they lost to Oklahoma by 2 points. And then the two games that Notre Dame had to start the season, they lost to Miami, they lost to Texas A&M by 1 point. Then they beat USC, the number 20th ranked team, and then Pitt, who's like the 22nd ranked team. Miami blew them out too. So yeah, Alabama lost 3 games, but you can't tell me that Notre Dame, a team that doesn't play in a conference, should ever have any gripe about a Bama team that has to play in a conference game. Alabama should have the right to opt out if that hurts their record. The truth of the matter is that it's like this. Imagine this. You guys, I know you guys are big golfers, right? I mean, I'm not even a golfer, but like my friends golf. Imagine if you had if you guys were the same score in the 18th hole, right? And you're both good golfers, but one guy has to play the 19th hole and he messes up on that hole and he hits one into the water and it only hurts him. Look, I'm so tired of Notre Dame and all this stuff. Like, I don't know. It's all fun and games, but like, I mean, I don't get it. Like, I don't see I don't, and it's not the SEC thing because that's not a thing for me. It's just like, bro, win your games and you're in.
So D-Mac, the funny thing is, I agree with everything you said. I don't think Bama shouldn't be in. I don't know. So that's why I'm one of the rare. I think most people assume it's Notre Dame versus Bama. My whole thing, I think they might have actually gotten it right. But my thing, and it's kind of your golf analogy is kind of perfect. What happened to Notre Dame is the entire round of golf, they go into the 18th hole being told they're up a stroke.
Okay, that's fair.
Both teams shoot par, and then suddenly they lost the round. That's what happened to Notre Dame. That's what doesn't make sense is how the heck are you above Miami week after week? Neither team plays, and then you're behind them. That's what doesn't make sense to me. I understand the logic of, hey, Notre Dame and Miami played each other. So if that's the case, if it truly comes to a tiebreaker, you have the easiest example of a tiebreaker head-to-head. I agree. But that's why it didn't make sense for the last 4 weeks where Miami was consistently coming underneath Notre Dame on the rankings. That's what didn't make sense. Did they get the rankings right? I think they actually kind of did. Outside of the 2 Power Fives. And D-Mac, you know me, I'm thrilled that the UCLA football head coach is playing in the CFP. But there's no world where JMU and Tulane are both getting in ahead of Notre Dame. That's what's ridiculous.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, and the whole point.
Like, I thought this whole thing was supposed to be super lit. Like, let in the best teams and let them kill each other, right? Like, it should be Notre Dame in Texas, in JMU, in Tulane, and whatever a JMU is. What is it, JMU? James Madison? Is that a state?
Time out.
No, I don't care about Bruce. I don't care about Chesney.
You can be confused about why they made.
They're going to get BTA by Oregon. Like
first round.
I agree. But hey, you can say why did they make the CFP? But don't say who's JMU, baby, because JMU produced Mr. Kurt Signetti, who is the number 1 seed, and then they produced Bob Chesney, who's going to be the number 1 seed next year, baby. Come on, go Bruins. Let's go. I agree. It doesn't make sense. The moral of the story is they broke things where you say you need to have one non-Power 4 team get in, which, okay, I don't really think that's the case, but cool. If you need to have one get in to make sure the other conferences feel like they have a shot, great. There was no need to then force 2 this year. Like, you only needed to force 1, and you forced the one with Tulane. There's no need to force 2. But, hey, I'll take it. Let's go watch our coach, our DMAC, being Bob Chesney, go coach in the CFP before he comes to L.A., baby. Come on now. And Big Brock, you know you'll be in it next year with Lane Kiffin. So good times ahead for the Mob Squad. We get to watch the Rams win the Super Bowl, and then we get a UCLA LSU CFP final next year. I can't even say that.
Oh my gosh, he's delusional.
Oh, man.
I can't even say it with a straight face. You know I'm lying. But for now, let's celebrate the other team in blue and gold, the Rams, with the dominating win. Let's go beat the Lions next week. We'll see you guys for the midweek show on Wednesday or Thursday, like we always do. We'll have our official predictions. Hopefully everyone stays healthy for the Rams going into this one. And let's handle business again. But for now, let me see that belt one more time, Big Brock. Pause. Let me see that belt one more time.
Here we go.
There it is.
He's had it on his neck like it's a snake the whole show.
Yeah. It's a souvenir. Souvenir for the defense. That's it.
There you go. I love it. All right. Signing off, Mob Squad. We'll see you in the midweek. We'll see you again next Sunday as well. Whose house? Rams house. Whose squad? The Mob Squad. The Locked On Rams Squad Show. Take care, everybody.
Peace.